Chair now recognizes Mr. Sessions from Texas.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. I join in the calls of both all of our members to say thank you for doing this hearing on a bipartisan basis. Director, I'm not going to sit here and say you ought to resign, but I am going to say that you have not given us confidence that you have the ability to understand what happened, to take the responsibility in terms of understanding. You've spent a number of years. How many years do you say you've been with the agency?
29.
Well, I spent 16 years with AT&T, moved 7 times with them, and had a really good feel about their operations, how they worked, what was acceptable, who was responsible. And I've heard you say today numbers of times, well, you've got to wait. Well, you've got to wait. Wait for the final report. When is the final going to happen? I mean, how long do we have to wait before you can give us credible answers? You've been there 28 years. You've had a few days to be able to draw your own analysis of this. You should understand the entire process. You talked about being on the team, perhaps in Georgia. You have talked about your experience in this. You've talked about the professional nature of the agency. That I don't doubt. But the director, just like it was when I ran my operations at AT&T, was responsible for making sure they worked. And in business, it either works or it doesn't work. There's no in between. It either works or it does not work. And your job as the, in essence, administrator, the director, is to make sure it looks right and works. And I've not heard you say one thing about my analysis is, I have asked these questions. It's always, I've got to sit back and wait for someone else to decide that. So I'm going to ask you a question that maybe you can answer. Have any employees been disciplined
the federal government
for their
doesn't move that
role
fast.
in Butler, PA incident?
Nor the state government.
No, sir, not at this time. I am asking those questions.
So no employee has been disciplined and no employee has been placed in any position that would place their job in jeopardy, nor their standing in the agency.
We are still in the process of
That's not what I
people.
asked. You're the person that runs the place. You're the person that knows right from wrong, good from bad. You've had a number of days, and now you come before this committee knowing you're going to be before us, and you've got to slough it off to someone else. Do you see where there was something that went wrong as a professional at an agency for 28 years, or do you have to count on someone else to give you the final report?
I see that something went wrong, and I've acknowledged that something went
Then
wrong.
what went wrong? Was
need
the
to-
special agent in charge not doing their job? Was the shooter was the shooter given extra time? Was the sniper doing their job? I mean, these are things that people who've been around for 28 years can analyze quickly. I watched it live on TV, and then within minutes saw a number of facts and factors that would have and should have been known by people who were there. You've got 28 years. You're showing up here telling us and the American public, well, I've got to wait for the final answer. What is your evaluation?
I'm asking those same questions.
Well, no, you're before the
And
committee. Tell us what went wrong. A special agent in charge, the person who was there. Tell us, and don't try and play a shell game with us. Do you have the ability to effectively, as the director of this agency, to understand what went wrong and at least tell us, I do or don't know what I'm doing? And we come away with, and I'm not asking for you to resign. I'm asking for you, if you've got this experience, then
That's a
you
fair
should
question.
be able to say to us, we know what we did wrong. It was a failure in our system, and we're immediately making these corrections. That's why you're having a difficult time with this group of members of Congress, because we saw it too. We've seen the things, but you are the 28-year expert. You are the person that, and only you, that can make the changes. And I hear you say, well, I've got to wait for a final report before I, at 28 years experience. That is why we think what you're doing.
Anthony, if you're there, can you pause it?
Professional.
Thanks, Anthony. And Bill, you chimed in there as well, being a great question. Look, you and I were in management. We do understand that official documentation, official conclusions, they take some time. I get that, and as reluctantly as I can, I defend her on that part of it. But you chimed in. You're absolutely right. There are still things that she can do at this point while the investigation is being conducted by the FBI. She can bring in her executive staff. She can ask questions of them about their assessment. That's not part of the official investigation. That's something that any leader, any administrator, any manager would do. Hey, what do you think happened? What was the chain of command here? What was the input? What is your personal SOP when it comes to the site assessments? What's the review process? I want to know what happened here, here, here. She can ask all those questions for people who are maybe not subject of the investigation. Totally legit to do that. There's no problem. And in the meantime, as she's finding out things that are apparently lapses in the process here, she can start implementing things right now. We're going to change this today, right now, regardless of the outcome of the investigation. Here are things that I want to institute right now to ensure this won't happen again. And then she can always back those things down later on. And if she had done that, she could bring that to the table today as, here's what I'm doing right now. I can't tell you exactly what text happened here and who talked to whom and exactly where communication broke down, but I'm asking this question internally, and let me tell you XYZ protocols I put into place the day after or last week or yesterday. Those are the things that she's not doing. That's glaring to me about her lack of leadership.
And Mark, I know you got a hard out here, so.
Yeah, I've got about another 15 minutes. I'm enjoying this, and I'm going to stay for as long as I can.
Professional expertise. Mr. Chairman, I will allow her to respond.
I am asking those same questions, sir, and I assure you, when I have a full and complete report of exactly what happened, there will be accountability, and we will make changes.
But before I recognize the question, just out of curiosity, Director, it's been 9 days. Every American wants these questions answered. Do you have a ballpark estimate of what Mr. Sessions asked you would be able to answer?
So I can tell
time-wise?
I can tell you on our mission assurance internal investigation, we are targeting to have that completed within 60 days. There's also an external investigation that is going to be taking place. There are a number of Office of Inspector General investigations as well, and we are working in concert. And then, of course, there's the Department of Justice, FBI, criminal investigation.
Chair recognizes Ms. Ocasio-Cortez from New York.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Cheatle, respectfully, what you had just laid out about 60 days